Motivation. Motivation is the foundation to success. It all starts with motivation. If you get motivated, you can achieve anything. You know, take the reverse side: depression, feeling low, not motivated. You know, you just want to sit around all day watching movies, sleep all day. You know, what do you actually achieve? But if you get motivated, it's a whole new ball game. Why do I like this subject so much? What actually pushes me to continue to be motivated and help people? And that's the one thing that I like doing on this planet, is helping people. Why do I like helping people? And the reason is, starting back at the age of 4, you could say this is my learning curve right at the beginning. My mother couldn't afford to keep me. She had to put me into foster care. Times were hard, and physically and mentally and financially, she had no chance but to put me into foster care. So I just couldn't imagine what she was feeling at the time. But she put me into foster care, and I was there for maybe 1.5 years. And then I came out to live with my mother, and we were okay for about a year. Then my mother decided to remarry, but my father died when I was 2. He died of pancreatic cancer. So I didn't really know my father, but you know, to have another man come on the scene, it was strange to begin with. But everything's okay for 6 months. 6 months goes by. He becomes extremely abusive and violent. And it started off with me before it moved over to my mother. Over a period of 2 to 3 years, he broke my jaw, he broke my nose, eye sockets, slammed my head against the wall on numerous occasions, and gave me concussion. Bear in mind, I'm 7, 8 years old at the time. He's carried on for a few years. You know, you go to bed in the evening, pee yourself, you wee yourself out of fright. You don't know what you're facing on a daily basis. You don't know what mood he's going to be in on a daily basis. Every day was a living nightmare. It's a true living nightmare. Over a period of a couple of years, I saw my mother get absolutely battered, senseless by him. He put my mother in hospital. I watched him slam my mother's head against the table on numerous occasions. And I know that she tried to take her life twice. That was hard. But anyway, at that point, you know, my mother managed to keep the family together. You know, she, so I'd say, yeah, she's my true hero in life. Let's move on. So she, you know, time goes by. I reach the age of 16. I start college. And the only thing that's on my mind is proving to my mother and proving that I can become a success. And using her as a springboard. Going to college and then on to university, getting a mechanical engineering degree, paying for it myself, working 3 jobs in order to pay for university, and succeeding at the time. So I knew what hard work was. You know, I knew the benefit of hard work and the results that come off the back of hard work. So, off the back of that, I ended up working on some very high-level contracts in the UK. Very successful, part of the Oyster Card project in London. And then a year or 2 goes by, and then I end up working on a lot of projects out in Kuwait in the Middle East. I'm working for the US government and numerous other contracts in Kuwait at the time. I become sick, but that's from working too many hours and not eating properly and everything else that goes with it while I'm out there. But I brush it off. I just focused on achieving the next level. At the same time, I had a business in Turkey, which was a school. used to teach English to Turkish children. It was just outside Bodrum in Turkey. Quite successful, and I was really proud of it because you're seeing young children, with getting education and going on, and it was a wonderful experience. And I was trying to maintain that and trying to pay for it all while I was out in Kuwait. 6 months goes by, and I'm abusing my body. Literally, I'm eating rubbish, I'm not sleeping, and it's a complete nightmare. I end up in a hospital in Kuwait, diagnosed with pneumonia. That nearly killed me, literally nearly killed me. I lost a lot of weight, I couldn't breathe for a long time, but financially it hit me. I didn't have anybody else that I could rely on to help me. Out in Kuwait, help maintain the contracts. I lost the school in Turkey. I lost all my contracts in Kuwait. It was disastrous. Very bad time. But you pick yourself back up. You find a way. I wasn't going to sit around and go, "Woe is me. I feel like shit. Please, somebody help me." I'm responsible for my own life, so I just wanted to make sure that I, pick myself back up and push myself forward, dust myself off, push myself forward. So I came back to England, and I reached out to some of my contacts, and I'm working on a high-level project in the centre of the UK on a rail project. And times are good for 2 years. Things are great. I remarry, fall in love, and things are absolutely amazing. At that time, I'm going out to work in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Great contract out there, great bunch of intelligent people that I'm working with, and I'm part of the design team to implement the rail project out in Riyadh. I'm backwards and forwards, flying backwards and forwards every couple of weeks. My wife's in the UK with the children. One day I come back and I say to my wife, "You know what? Have you noticed this lump on my side of my neck here, just starting to get slightly bigger? So let's go and get it checked out." Well, actually, my wife forced me to get it checked out, so I did. I'm in the hospital, waiting to get checked out. One of the nurses says, "We've got the surgeon coming down to look at it for you." The surgeon comes down, takes a look at it, brings somebody else down to look at it, and then obviously diagnoses me with having a right subclavian artery aneurysm, an aneurysm that possibly could go to the brain. I could die. I could die quickly, rapidly, any second, living on borrowed time. 1 minute I'm going to the hospital thinking, this is, yeah, fine, well, after hospital, I'll go to the gym, we'll go and do this, we'll go and do that. But no, it was a one-way trip into hospital, and being prepped for surgery. It's like a whirlwind. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn. My wife's sitting next to me crying. The surgeon's saying to my wife, "Look, you've got to look at the percentages. There is a chance that your husband won't survive. There is a chance that there'll be complications after the surgery. There is a chance that he could. You don't know what's going to happen after the surgery. It's a serious operation. 8 hours plus operation." So anyway, intensive care. I wake up, I come round, I go through intensive care. I'm there for a couple of weeks. I start to have some complications, which is no strength in my right arm, blood flow, hardly any blood flow down my right arm, so I could barely use it. Memory loss, which is something I was really embarrassed to talk about with my wife. I was forgetting all basic things that I've learned throughout my career, and off the back of that, depression sets in. So if something hits you really hard in life, there's an example. 1 minute I'm going to the gym and looking at running around doing different things, and next minute but I can't do anything. I've got a massive cut down the centre of my chest. I had open heart surgery. Memory loss. I couldn't use my arm. Long recovery period ahead of me. Watching the money drain away in the bank while I'm going through a recovery phase. then what do we do? So at that point, I had no choice but to dig deep into the reserves of the mind, and that's what I did. I sat there and thought, you know what? There's only one person that's going to get me out of this, and that's me. So while I was in hospital, I looked into my contact list. I got a contract out in Qatar, working on a large rail project for Saudi Bin Laden Group. I was head of project and risk at the time, and I went out there against really the doctor's wishes. I shouldn't have gone, but I did. While out in Qatar, I suffered more complications. I nearly lost the use of my right arm totally. My hand and arm went numb, and massive complications. It was frightening. I thought I was having a stroke. I thought I was dying. So I'm backwards and forwards. I'm flying back to England, and I start to recover. Blood thinning drugs and weaning myself off the painkillers. Things are starting to get better. I'm back in the gym, and I'm using my mind, the motivation within my mind, everything that's happened to me from childhood up to that point, I'm using it as strength. I then get myself together, and I'm back out in working in Saudi Arabia again for a fantastic company in Jeddah. The owner of the company, an amazing person, super intelligent, inspiration to me. It was a case of going from strength to strength. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the time. And now I spend most of my time really looking at other people's problems, looking at how I can help people and how I can get people out of depression and out of a hole they've got themselves dug into. I run a Facebook page, RJB Management, and I work with people that are stuck on issues, stuck on things they can't plateau in, stuff like that, and it gives me energy, it gives me drive. But a couple of years ago, I set up a charity out in the Philippines, and that's off the back really of my childhood. Why I set it up. And it's to do with children that have been physically abused and beaten out in the Philippines. The parents, they can't afford to keep them, they dump them on the streets, literally. There's hundreds and thousands of children running around Manila with no homes, at night sleeping under bridges in order to get some shelter from the rain or the wind or whatever weather condition. But they take their life into their own hands on a daily basis. So that really moved me when I went out there. Emotionally, that drained me. So I went into, I spent some time in the Philippines, and I looked at starting to build a charity where people go around in the evening and they put a blanket over a child, and they feed a child, and just to give that child a little bit of something they never had before. Setting a business model up where a child can be rehomed with a family, and the charity pays the family to home the child and look after the child and educate the child. That's ongoing at the moment, and I'm working with numerous other organisations to help fund it. But you can see all that information on my website, www.rjbmanagement.org, under charity. Hopefully one day that's going to continue to go from success to success. Is that if you're feeling low, there's one thing that you can look at that makes you feel instantly you want to kick yourself up the arse and drive yourself forward. If there's a post I put on there today, actually, RJB Management on Facebook. There's a guy training in a gym with one of the most inspirational speakers out there at the moment in the world. His name's C.T. Fletcher. He's training this guy in the gym, and this guy's got one arm, no hand. This arm is missing, and he's got no legs, so he's just got one arm, training with a dumbbell and a weight on the end of his arm. And he's happy, and he's smiling, and he's talking to C.T. Fletcher. you know, if at any time we want to look at ourselves and think motivation, look at this guy, unbelievable. So sometimes I think we just got to look inwards and look at ourselves to realise that we just need to give ourselves a kick up the arse on a daily basis. That's all. Thanks for listening, and let's catch up soon.